revision lesson, we'll learn how writers paragraph their narrative writing. You're actually going to find paragraphing under conventions, which we wouldn't normally consider to be revision work. Anything under conventions we would normally call editing. However, paragraphing is so important to helping the reader understand the events in the story. So I'm actually going to require this as your first revision lesson. I want you to work through your paragraphing before you move on to any of the rest of your revision work. So let's look at what the rubric says about paragraphing. This is the level 3 or the meeting standard. Paragraphing is intentional. There's a new paragraph each time a new speaker speaks. So I need to see two things with your paragraphing. Number one, I need to see that you are making intentional choices about when and where to start a new paragraph. And number two, anytime there's a new speaker, I better see a new paragraph. So let's look at what I'm not looking for. This is a chunk of narrative text without any paragraphs. Let's read it. And near the counter, a teenager, perhaps a year or two older than me, sits behind it. His feet are propped up on the counter, eyes on his phone. I wait a few moments, awkwardly digging the toe of my boot into the wooden flooring. After about 30 seconds or so, he glances up, feet quickly falling down to the ground. "Oh," the boy says, like he's reading from a script. "What do you want?" I blink. "Oh, I wanted to buy a bouquet of flowers, I mean." He doesn't respond for a moment. Instead, he eyes distastefully at the water that drips off of me and onto the floorboards. Yeah, fine," he finally says. "Any particular person, like, mom or friend or something?" When I read a chunk of narrative text that has no paragraphs, I'm like, what did I just read? I have such a hard time as the reader tracking the events in the story, especially tracking who is speaking when there aren't any paragraphs. Paragraphing helps the reader to slow down and to check for understanding. So this is what it should actually look like. When should we make a new paragraph? So reason number one, we're going to make a new paragraph anytime there's a change in topic or location. So in these first two paragraphs, I near the counter, a teenager, perhaps a year or two older than me, sits behind it. His feet are propped up on the counter, eyes on his phone. This first paragraph is all describing this boy sitting at the counter, feet propped up, eyes in his phone. But then the narrator transitions to describing what it feels like to wait for the boy to actually tune into the fact that she's standing there. I wait a few moments, awkwardly digging the toe of my boot into the wooden flooring. After about 30 seconds or so, he finally glances up. Because there is a change in topic, I'm going to start a new paragraph. A helpful question to ask yourself is, do you want your reader's eyes to move? So if we picture this setting, this flower shop, my reader is first looking at the boy, and then I want my reader's eyes to shift to the narrator who is standing there tapping her foot, right, waiting for this boy to actually clue into the fact that she's there. The second reason that I'm going to start a new paragraph is when there's a new speaker. So we have this here. First, the boy says, "Oh," the boy says, like he's reading from a script, "What do you want?" So first the boy is speaking, and then the narrator speaks. I blink. "Oh, I wanted to buy a bouquet of flowers, I mean." So that's the narrator. So I have a change in speaker, so I needed to start a new paragraph. And then the boy speaks again. He doesn't respond for a moment. Instead, he eyes distastefully at the water that drips off of me onto the floorboards. Yeah, fine," he finally says. "Any particular person, like mom or friend or something?" So anytime you have a new speaker, you need to start a new paragraph. It's so important. But here's the trick with narrative paragraphing. When in doubt, make a new paragraph. Narrative paragraphs are so short. Most narrative paragraphs are max 4 sentences long. So if you're like, should I make a new paragraph? Do it, right? Paragraphs help me as the reader to slow down my reading and to check that I am actually understanding the events in this story. So go do it. Revise your narrative writing, make intentional choices about your paragraphing, and you better have a new paragraph anytime there's a new speaker.